Welcome back to another arcade fix. Today we're gonna go ahead and put a cap kit in this Toei Munson monitor that is in this heavy barrel conversion, which I believe was originally a Centuri Phoenix. The monitor, the tube itself has no burn-in, but as you can see from this picture from the last video, the monitor definitely has some problems, to say the least. But on a side note, like I say, we have no burn-in on the tube. We have high voltage, which is a plus because I don't think you can get this high voltage transformer if it was bad. And we do have a picture, even though it's shrunken. So hopefully a cap kit is going to do wonders for this. So we're going to find out. So first thing you want to do with any monitor is we want to make sure that the tube has been discharged. Now, last time this was fired up was the last video, which was exactly a week ago today. So it shouldn't have a charge in it, but just to be on the safe side, let me see if I can find a place to clamp this. Get these out the way. And here's your high voltage anode cap. That comes from the flyback. That's where the high voltage current goes into the tube. So we want to take our handy dandy little screwdriver with a ground clip on it. And we'll get it under here. Boy, that's stuck. Been on there so long the rubber is stuck to the tube. And I'm pretty confident that we're done. If not, you'll see me light up. There we go. Got that little clip loose. We'll just let this hang right here. Next, we'll go ahead and take the neck board loose. Now, this neck board is hardwired like most of them, so want to be careful here. Okay, and here is a ground wire that goes to the DAG, and I did notice that the spring on the DAG wire is come loose. It was like that. I see where the one over there connects on that corner, so it must be a hook down there where it goes. So we'll figure out where that is while we get this chassis out of here. Also, let's see, we need to unhook the power wire, which is this connector right here. I think I have, when I ordered the cap kit from Peter at Arcade Parts and Repair, he had a couple of connectors that looked like this. Now, I didn't take measurements. I could have took spacing measurements and all that, but I didn't. I just went ahead and took the easy route. I went ahead and ordered each one of these. He has two different spacings, but they look just like this. So I took a chance and went ahead and ordered them. So we'll find out if they're one of those is going to be a match for that. Also, the same deal with the RGB sync connector here. He had two different versions of that with two different types of spacing. The pins are the same, but just the spacing between the pins are different. So I ordered those two, and we'll find out. And if that's correct, then I'll be able to make a harness for my test pattern generator. In the meantime, we're just going to unplug the factory harness here, and we'll just take the whole thing with us. That way, if it's not a match, I'll be able to make a harness that'll plug into this, and we'll keep this right here in the game. All right. Well, we'll have to unplug this. This is the ground wire to the DAG. That unplugs. Okay, so We'll get that out the way. We got another one right here that plugs into the deflection board. So we'll unplug that, and they both go to the same ground strap on the DAG. So we'll just get these up here out of the way. Now, next thing is the yoke wires. I hope they come out pretty easy. Yes. It's another one of those 4-pin connectors. It looks very similar to a G07, but I don't know if it is. But we don't have to worry about that. All right, now everything should be connected, disconnected, I should say, from the tube. I thought about taking this whole monitor out of the cabinet and putting it on the workbench. But I want to be able to test out the controls in the cabinet when I get the monitor working. So I'm just going to leave it in here and take the deflection board in on the workbench and put the cap kit in it, bring it back out here, and we'll see if it works. If that doesn't fix it, then I may go ahead and pull the whole thing out, take it back into the workbench, and we can do some troubleshooting on the workbench. All right. Now this particular monitor has a wood bottom that the frame screws to. Actually, this piece of wood right here is actually part of the monitor. And if you were to take it out the cabinet, it has 3 L brackets, one back here, one up on the front side, and one down on the front side on the bottom. So you've got 3 bolts you have to take out, and then the whole monitor will just slide out. And it appears you can slide it out the back because it's got a little cutout down here where it can come out. Don't believe it'll come out the front. It might, but I believe it's made to come out the back. But we'll worry about that if we have to get to it. So what we have to do now is take the chassis off of this piece of plywood, and it has Phillips screws. So yeah. So let me get my Phillips screwdriver here. And first let's start with the hard ones. Wait a minute. It looks like, I've never had one of these Toei's apart. It looks like it's got a piece of wood back here that the lip slides up into. So we might be able to just take these screws loose on the front side and it might just slide right out. Okay, let's find out. All right, that's one. I don't know if this one probably goes all the way in. But this is where the ground wire is supposed to go. So I'll have to replace that lug on that for the ground wire. Yeah, it went all the way into the wood. And then we got one more right here. I'll put my hand up on the back side of this to hold pressure up on it so it doesn't fall out of here while I'm taking the screw out. Okay, now let's see if I'm right. Yep. The gauze wires. I forgot about the gauze. The gauzing coil. Or the gauze, however you pronounce it. Okay, now everything's disconnected. And there we have it. That is the Toei Munson Company, Ltd, made in Japan, picture monitor, CM-A20H. So once we get it into the, on the workbench, well, we could probably have access to it without taking it off of the metal frame. You can see it does have some hours on it. because it's got some burn spots, but a lot of monitors have that. And we'll check it for cold solder joints and all that good stuff. I didn't get a hot or a voltage regulator. I guess this is the hot on this side next to the high voltage transformer, and this is probably the voltage regulator over by the resistor. And it's got 3 replaceable fuses in it, but the monitor was working, so all the fuses are good. So okay, well, let's get it back on the workbench and start putting the cap kit in it. All right, well, we got the monitor chassis on the workbench, and a couple days ago we got the cap kit in. Ordered a mega deluxe cap kit from arcadepartsandrepair.com, and it's for the Toei CM-A20HC series. It's supposed to have all the caps in it, except for the filter cap, and we ordered one of those too. And that's a 470 microfarad at 250 volts. And might be a good thing we ordered that, because here on the chassis, I don't know what's going on the top of that. I don't know if something got on it, leaked on it, spilled on it, or something is spewing out of it. So yeah, we'll be changing that anyway. Also, the Toei monitor uses these connectors, which look like the same type of connectors that like a yoke hook up on a G07 monitor, and other monitors too, by the way. And this is the one for the RGB input from the game board. Now this part right here is an original harness that unplugged from the original harness, which I still believe it was a Century Phoenix game. So, you know, I didn't have any of these connectors, and the power connector is the same type of connector, only it's a 2-pin connector. And this one here is a 5-pin. Okay, and 4 of these have the same spacing, but one is farther apart. So that kind of makes it like it's keyed, so you can only put it in one way. But the board has a 6-pin connector here, which is kind of weird. It doesn't plug into that last connector. So I don't know, that's probably another sync. I don't know, I'd have to look at the schematics. I did find the schematics for this on the web, so if I need the schematics, I have them. And over here, this is the 2-pin connector for the power, okay? And this is the 2-pin connector for the degauss, which I don't need because it's on the tube part of the chassis. But it's the same plug that the power uses. And then I noticed it's got this other plug right here, which is a 4-pin plug, and it's just got 2 wires doubled up on it, white wire and a yellow wire. And I'm wondering if maybe that's some type of a connector that you can change to change the input voltage, to maybe you can make this monitor a regular 115 volts. Right now it's set up, the isolation transformer in the cabinet, because we checked it with the voltmeter, is putting out about 100, I believe it was 108 volts AC. So this is set up as a 100-volt monitor, which is basically the same like the Nintendo monitors are. So if you try to use one of these in a standard cabinet, well, I would say you would have to get a 100-volt isolation transformer for it, unless, of course, this right here you could change. But maybe I could look on the schematics and we can figure that out. But I'm going to leave it that way because I still have the original isolation transformer in the cabinet, so there's no need to worry about that. But anyway, going back to these connectors, I wanted to make up a harness for my test pattern generator, and I could use this and just use one of these connectors right here, or to plug into that. But on arcadepartsandrepair.com, I went looking through his connector page, and I found these connectors right here, and I ordered them. And actually he had two different types. The pin spacing is different on the two different types, and I got both of them, but I only need one, and this is the one that you need for this particular chassis. So this is a 5-pin, which is identical to this one right here. Okay, and this is the 2-pin, which fits the 2-pin power plug, and also got the pins that go inside it. So if you're interested in these, you have to go to a site, and they are under the 2.36 connectors, which that's the spacing, I guess it's in millimeters. And you got the 5-pin is a CM-A20HC. That's his number. So if you put that number in his website search, you'll come up with it. The 2-pin is a CM-A1001. And the female pins that goes in these housings, let's see, for 18 to 24 gauge wire is a CM-A1006 slash, and then there's another number, CP1011. So they are the pin, and these pins, the female pins, will work in either one of these connectors that has the different spacing. I bought those two, which I'm not going to need, but these right here will do the job. So if you need connectors for a Toei monitor, you can get them at arcadepartsandrepair.com. Okay, that out of the way, let's take a little bit closer look at the chassis here. Here's the neck board, and it has let's see, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 pin socket. I don't know what that is, what you would call that. I don't know. It's an awful lot of pins. So I don't know if this particular tube, what other monitor it would work with if it turns out that you have a bad chassis. But hopefully it's something that will work with it. But there's nothing on the neck board except for the socket and 3 neon light bulbs. And I'm pretty sure these are used as like a spark gap if you have a short in your tube on one of the guns, or all 3 of the guns. That's why it's 3 of them. They use these in vector monitors too. I know the G08 monitor has these on the neck board. Just regular neon bulbs that if you develop a short, I believe the bulbs light up. So there's nothing we're going to have to do to that, but it is hardwired into the chassis. So I looked this board over good, and it doesn't appear to have any work done to it except for one little thing. They look like the original caps, and of course the picture that this is putting out would make you think that they're the original, but somebody has replaced one of these pops right here, and it looks like they did it, probably a field repair on the fly, and they did it with the monitor still the board's still screwed to the board because they did it from the top side, and it's kind of weird, but they did it and it works, I guess. I don't know if the pot has the same spacing. If I was to undo all that mess and put it down on there where it's supposed to be, I'll have to make a few measurements to see. I may do that, but if it doesn't fit, I may try to source one for it. In the meantime, that'll have to do, because if you look on the bottom side, look like they only soldered one of the pins. The other two look original. So yeah, maybe they, well, I don't know. That pin looks like it's been, a couple of these pins look like it's been touched up, so somebody may have had the board off, but I don't know. We'll look at all that. What strikes me as weird is look how symmetrical this is. Somebody with OCD must have designed this thing. Look at how all the solder connectors, solder connections are kind of in line with each other, sort of like making a grid pattern. It's almost a piece of art. Well, it is a piece of art. But that's the only monitor that I can think of that, or any PC board that has a layout that looks like that. It's all sort of, I want to say Borgish, using a Star Trek term, because the Borg is a square cube, you know, everything is sort of square looking. So, and that translates on the top side. Because everything is lined up in a row. It's kind of a thing of beauty in a way, but yeah, there's an awful lot of caps on this, so it's going to be a job replacing these, but won't be too bad. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it and see if we can't start replacing some of these caps. Okay, well, I didn't wash this chassis off, but it's not real dirty, but it does have a lot of dust on it. So I'm going to take my little auto detailing brush here and just going to see if we can get a little bit of this dirt off of here. Just brush it off because it's mainly just dust. Because this monitor, you can't get flybacks for it, I'm pretty sure. So I didn't want to take a chance on getting it real wet. So that's why I decided to go to the dry route. I could have blew it off with some air, I guess, because I did get my power back in my garage, so I have my air compressor back. But I think we'll be okay. This is a real soft brush, so it shouldn't do any damage to any of the components, and I'm being real easy with it anyway, so. Okay, well that looks a whole lot better. So let me get set up. I'm gonna, matter of fact, I may wait and do this tomorrow, so get a fresh start on it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all these caps out and I'm gonna go through the list and I'm gonna write down on each one of them where they go on the board, and lay them out so that it'll be a little bit quicker, instead of trying to find each cap individually and all that. I'll go ahead and I like to go ahead, if some of them are together like this right here, you can just take a pencil or a pen or something and write the number on each one of them, and that way you pick it up, you look at it, and yeah, that's it. So, all right, let me go ahead and do that, and tomorrow we'll come back and we'll knock this thing out. Okay, here we go. Let's get started. I'm just going to go ahead and just start picking caps. I'm going to start with an easy one right here on this corner. Let's hope it's easy. And let's find out if it's going to work out for us. And it just fell out. Great start. But I already looked and knew which direction it went in, so. This is C84. Okay, so C84. And C84 is right here, and it had a 100 microfarad at 25 volts. We're going to replace it with a 100 microfarad at 50 volts. Okay. All right, one down and I think 32 to go. I believe it's about 33 caps in here. Maybe 34 counting the filter cap. All right, and that one was C84. So what I like to do is I'll take this paper that came with the caps, and I'll find C84 right here, and I'll go ahead and just put a circle around it. That way I know I've replaced that one, so I don't have to worry about it. All right, let's continue. Alright, let's go ahead and finish this half of the board. Let's tackle this axle capacitor right here. Yes. Looks like it right here, and it looks like it's designed for either one. It's got two holes close side by side here for a regular size cap, and these are spread apart for that. So that could have been factory. Well, let's find out here. Definitely looks factory because it's never been changed, so that's weird. I guess it's what they had on hand at the time. Okay, so we'll take it out. Negative is supposed to be over here, so that is correct. And yeah, it is set up where you can put a regular cap in there, so we're going to have to evacuate the two center holes. This is 10 microfarad at 350 volts. Wow. That's a discrepancy because it is the original cap, and it's C80 or C81. C80. It's going to replace it with 10 microfarad at 250 volts, and a 350 volts came out of there. Huh. And it is original. This is a made in Japan, this capacitor. You're not supposed to go down in voltage. You should always go up. Well, I'm going to put it in anyway, but I'm going to have to make a note of that. That a 350 came out of it. Alright, C86. Alright, C86. Right here. And definitely a 100 microfarad at 250 volts, not 350 volts. But, as you can see, it's still a pretty hefty cap. So, now we'll find out. First, let me evacuate the mounting holes because we're going back with a radio cap. Okay. And we'll put the polarity. The polarity was correct. It sort of fits in there. Squishes the legs together a little bit. Alright, and I'll just solder the original holes back. And there we have it. I sure hope that's beefy enough for that section, because that's not what came out of it. So make a note of that. Well, we'll find out when we fire it up, I guess. Maybe it was just overkill to begin with. Maybe they put them in because that's all they had. So there might be some chassis that have either one in it. So because there was a provision for it. All right, well, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to put it in and let it fly. All right, let's see if we can get some of these other ones here. Let's go for this big one right here. This is a 100 microfarad at 160 volts. And I can't tell what it is because I don't see a number around it. It's probably hiding under it. So we'll have to pull it out and find out. And again, there's some pretty big leads here, so oh shoot, I just had it in my sights. Here it is, right here. And this is original, you can tell by the solder. Okay, it's loose. Polarity is correct. Well, there's the numbers hiding. C86. So C86. No, we just put C86 in. Did we? I goofed up. This one was C80. Duh. See? That's how you can goof up. Y'all probably caught that. This one is a 10 microfarad at 350 volts. This one is a 100 microfarad at 160 volts. Well, I put that one in here. This one is C80. And C80 is right here. 10 microfarad at 250 volts. Duh. Okay. Brilliant. Goes to show you, anybody gonna make a dumb mistake. That was a dumb one. So this is 100 microfarad at 250. And this is C86. So let me put that in next. C86. So that goes here. Hope it'll fit in that now. Alright, gotta get the legs straight. Okay. I'm glad I caught that. Alright. Well, that's going to work. A little solder to tack it on. Okay, that one's in. Now let's correct our mistake over here. This one is supposed to be C80. So here's C80 right here. C80 is 10 microfarad at 250 volts. 10 microfarad at 250 volts, but we took this 350 out, 10 microfarad, so same deal, just another capacitor. Well, let's get the polarity right. Are you due for a mistake? Don't worry about it. Push on. Okay, I'm gonna leave the legs on that one to make it easier to spot. And uh-oh, we just had a wire break off. And that's what I didn't want. Wow. And where was that at? I'm going to look around and see if I can find out where that wire just broke off. That's one of my biggest fears. Looks like it was kind of corroded up. So let me take a look and I'll be back. Okay, crisis averted. Luckily I had taken some pictures on my phone and I was able to zero in on exactly where that wire went, which is right by the B plus adjustment pot. And it originally had these crimps on the end of the wire, and it had like a straight little pin on the end of it that went through the through hole and then soldered on the back side. Well, that little pin, the wire didn't break. The pin actually rotted off and broke off. So I just cut the old connector off, stripped the wire, put it through the hole, and soldered it on the back side. So everything is right with the world again until the next problem. Alright, while doing that, I found out where this capacitor is, and I unsoldered one side of it. So let's go ahead and get the other side, and we'll replace this one while we're here. Getting closer. All right, what's next? All right, let's do these two right here. C63. And they go this way across the board, so two of them together, and that looks like it right there. Yep. Let's see if the polarity is right. It is. And this is C63, which was a 68 microfarad at 16 volts. C63. All right, where you at? I know you're on here. Ain't too many left. This one that ain't in the kit. 68 microfarad. Yes. There's no 68 microfarad in the kit. Huh. C63, that's the number. C63. C63. Says C62. I already put that in. There's no C63. So guess what? 68 microfarads? No, I'm not going to have one of them. C63. 68 microfarads at 16 volts. So I'm going to have to put this one back in. Okay. Maybe this is one that doesn't go bad, but I could check it with my meter. Let me see, before I go trying to find my meter, let me see if this will do it. I don't know if this one will do this one or not. Yeah, it will. It's reading. Still jumping around a little bit. It's reading basically 47.7, 48.8 microfarads. It's supposed to be 68. That's a little off. Well, I'm going to put it back in, and we may have to readdress this later. That kind of sucks. But like I say, there's not a whole lot of information about this monitor, so But you would think somebody would have ran across this before. But maybe it's one that won't have an effect on the chassis, but you never know. At any rate, we put it back in because I don't have a 68 microfarad at 16 volts. Pretty sure I don't. Could you replace it with something close to it? I don't know. I'd have to look at the schematic, I guess. Maybe I'll do that later, but all right, so we're going to leave that one in, and let's go for the next one. Let's see if that's on the list. Okay, that's the last one. All we got to do now is the filter cap and the pot. So let me sort of regroup and we'll come back and we do those. Well, the next to the last thing we have to do before we finish up is going to have to replace this pot, this monstrosity that somebody tacked on to the sad remains of the original pot, and it's not even the correct pot. These are supposed to be 5K pots, and this one is a 200 pot, 200 ohm pot. So we're going to replace it with this 5K pot right here. It's got the same signature footprint, so it should go right into the PC board. So let's go ahead and remove it and install the new one. Okay. This should be it right here. These 3 connectors. So see if we can't get these off. Okay, well, we left one leg behind. They look like they just clipped the old pot off and soldered a new pot on top of the remaining legs of the old one, and we still got one stuck on there. So let's see if I can get some hemostats on that other side here. And it appears to be loose. Yeah, just came right out. So that's what's left of that. All right. Now let's see how the new pot fits in here. Almost. So make a little adjustment here. These have little bends on them so that they fit into the PC board and hold itself in. And they were just a little off. There we go. Clicked right in place. So let's see if I can go ahead and solder this in. And there we go. All soldered in. So there it is. One new pot. And I'll go ahead and put it in its middle position. And we should be ready to go with that. Alright, last but not least, we have to replace the filter cap right here. And the leads on that are too big for my tip I got on my desoldering iron here, so yeah, I'm going to have to change the tip, put a larger tip on it, so be right back. I got the tip changed and the desoldering gun here, so let's see if we can get this filter cap out. And it's loose, It is a snap-in cap, so we'll snap it out. And there we have it. And yeah, this one's got some type of goo on it, but I don't know if that's coming out the capacitor or something else got on it. But it doesn't matter because we're going to replace it. Yeah, this is a 470 microfarad at 160 volts. We're going to replace it with a 470 microfarad at 250 volts. So we're going up in voltage. But size got skinnier. Still about the same height though. Alright, let's see if we can snap this in. Get our polarity right. We definitely don't want to get the polarity wrong on this thing. Okay, it's in. And it's flat. So, let's go ahead and solder it in place. Just like that, we can stick a fork in it because we're done. I'm not gonna clean the flux off the bottom of the board right now because when I do the restoration, if we get the monitor working, and I'm gonna pull the whole monitor back out and clean it, and I'll probably take this board back off and we'll go back to that capacitor that wasn't in the kit, and 68, I think it was 68 microfarads. So yeah, C63 right there. Still got the red mark on it, so that's an original cap because I didn't have a 68 microfarad to replace it. So yeah, I'll get a capacitor and I'll pull this back out, and when I replace that cap, I'll go ahead and clean the flux off the board. It'll be fine till then, trust me. So okay, I'm gonna look everything over real good again. Already checked this one time for bad solder joints. I couldn't find one single bad solder joint on the whole thing. Everything looked great. But I'm gonna go over it one more time. If I don't find anything, then we'll go out to the garage, we'll plop it back in the monitor frame, and we'll put the juice to it and see what happens. Alright, let's go ahead and put the chassis back in. I fixed the dag wire here. The one up here had a string tied to it. And this one here, the string had broken, is long gone, so I put a couple tie wraps on there. So the dag wire spring is hooked back up. So now, let's go ahead and put the newly rebuilt board back in. Well, first I gotta loosen up the tie wraps here. Take them off where I tied it up when I was fixing it here, so. Want to free everything. And I think that's it. Now we'll just have to slide it back in place. and put the screws back in it. Whoops, easier said than done. All right, we put this big one here in the middle where the ground strap goes. And that'll hold it until I get the others in. Not going to tighten it till I get the other ones in. One of them fell down the bottom of the cabinet, so let me fish that out. Okay, well I got the screws back in. I fixed the ground wire here. So let's go ahead and start hooking everything up. First we'll hook the power back up, and that goes right. Yeah. Need a little more light on the subject here. That one goes right there. And let's see. Got those tied together. Have to unclip this. There we go. Let's do the gauze or degauss plug, and it goes right over here. Okay. Get that out the way. Now we got the two DAG grounds here. One of them goes on the board right here. And the other one goes on the neck board. Right here. Anode cap. Go ahead and put that on. Try to flip it inside out. Don't want to cooperate. All right. Anode cup is on. It's got a weird little whip to do in it right there. All right. Neck board. Key is right there. Okay, neck board is on. Okay, so let me double check here. We got our power wire hooked up. Run that down there. Ground hooked up. Our two DAG wires hooked up. The DAG ground. Anode cup is connected. Yoke. yoke wires. All right, figure out which way they plug in. They only go one way. And the spaced out one is on the top. So that goes to the top. Okay, yoke wires on. Neck board on. All right, we're ready to fire it up. Well, almost. We need an input signal. Now I could go ahead and plug this back in. We still have the heavy barrel board hooked up. But I'm gonna do something else. I got those plugs from Peter at Arcade Parts and Repair, so I made me an adapter for my test pattern generator. So we can use our test pattern generator here. Fix it so it won't fall out. All right, let's plug that in. Fits like a glove. I don't like that connector being right next to this resistor right here though. Bend it around this way. All right, test pattern generator hooked up. Hopefully the batteries are good and I didn't test it. I don't have my voltmeter out here to check the B+, but I'm not 100% sure where to check it. I read one post where it said this orange wire that goes over to the voltage regulator, or it might go to the resistor here. I don't know where it goes there. I'll have to investigate that, but first we'll just fire it up and see what happens. So let me set a camera around the front side and we'll have one on the back side so we catch any eruptions that might happen, and we'll get ready and we'll fire it up. Okay, let's turn the test pattern generator on. And I'll put that up there where I can reach it from the front side. And we'll go around the front and we're going to fire this thing up, see what happens. If I can reach the on-off switch, here we go. Okay, it's on. Okay, better. But we need some adjustments here. I still got the test pattern generator hooked up to the monitor, but the game came up. Let me see if I can see it. I didn't get my mirror, but maybe I can see it in the... Yeah, I'll be able to see it. All right, let's see if we can make some adjustments here. First, let's try vertical hold. All right, vertical hold. Now we need horizontal hold. Okay, I think I got my sync wires wrong. So let me flip my sync wire around. No. That's weird. Maybe they have to be combined. Let's see. I think I had vertical off. All right, let me see how that works. Let's see. No, that's vertical. That's not right. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to hook horizontal and vertical together. All right, well, I don't have it wired up for that. So tell you what, let's cut it off. Let's go for broke. Let's hook the game board up to it. And I'll just have to make a little jumper modification on the harness there for the test pattern generator to work. All right, so we'll get the test pattern generator out of here. Make sure I cut it off. All right, and let's hook up the game board. All right, now let's see what happens. All right, here we go again. Heavy barrel. The sync still looks off. No? Yes. That must be the monitor because my 60 and 1 was doing the same thing. All right, let me see. I don't think that's the focus. I shouldn't have messed with that. Yeah, here's the screen right here. Vertical size. The vertical height. Horizontal hold. Horizontal hold isn't having any effect at all. The brightness. That's weird. Okay, I locked it in that way. All I see is blue. Okay, maybe the blue is turned up. The blue cut off. That's the pot I put in. Okay, that's better. The width don't look right though. And the brightness needs to come up. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna either need a large mirror out here or yeah, something different to adjust this. But the good news is it's working a lot better than it was. Still looks a little blue. I haven't touched any of those controls, just I did do the blue pot a little bit. Probably need to crank the red and the green up. And I still seeing the raster. And I'm wondering if this has a horizontal width adjustment on it somewhere. The blue gain is all the way up. That might be why they had a 200 ohm pot in here. Okay, well that's about the best I can get it. Looking at the small viewfinder, a view screen on the camera, yeah, it's out of focus. I did mess with the focus pot. That's going to be hard to adjust until I get my big mirror out here, but yeah, I believe we're going to be all right. If I just find a width adjustment, and but then again, I'll put another board on here, and maybe it's just this particular game. That's a possibility too. Yeah, if I focus it, it's not too bad. I think I got the blue cranked up a little too high. And maybe I need a little more. Now this controller ain't rotating now. I have to look into that. But it is controlling all directions. I haven't looked at these controllers yet. Okay. Well, looks like the heavy barrel game is working too. I'm going to have to see about that rotor control on that one because it's not rotating. Oh, it's because the wire has got it hung up on the wire, maybe. No, it's just froze up. I'm going to have to go through the controls. Okay, well, I think we can say the monitor cap kit was a success. Like I said, I got to do a little fine tuning. Maybe I'll make another video on fine tuning it. Might even take it out of the cabinet, put it on the workbench so I can really get up and close and personal with it. And we might even have to put the CRT tester on it, find out what the strength of the guns are. I'm not a big fan of having to rejuvenate a tube unless it absolutely is necessary, but you can still hook it up and you know, see how healthy the guns are, and if they're right on the borderline of being in the red, then yeah, you can go ahead and rejuvenate it. But I don't like to do it unless it's time to, because when every time you rejuvenate it, you take a little bit of the life that's left in it out of it, even though you're prolonging it for just a little bit longer. So, all right, man, this video right here, I know it's kind of a long video, but if you stuck to it to the end, I appreciate it. And I'm going to release a long version of the cap kit install, a real-time version, you might want to say. So I don't know if anybody would absolutely watch it unless they have one of these monitors that they want to do a cap kit on and they want to familiarize themselves with what's involved in doing it. So who knows? Might can kind of step through it, fast forward, and kind of use it as a guide. So with that said, this has just been another arcade fix. Have you had your arcade fix today? Okay, well, I think I got it figured out. Got messing around with it a little more and come find out the reason the test pattern generator wasn't syncing right is because last time I used it, I had it plugged into the positive horizontal on video on this main connector. So I just had to switch it over to the negative because this is set up for a JAMA game, which is a negative sync game. So there you go. Looks pretty good. Still needs some tuning up, but I'll get to that here in a little bit. I'll run through some of the test pattern screens here. Yeah, like I say, it needs a little adjusting here, there, and yonder, but all in all, I think it came out pretty good. A whole lot better than it was, let's put it that way. So yeah. So to answer the question, will a cap kit fix it? Yeah, I think it did. We still had that one cap that wasn't in the cap kit. I'll have to message Peter and see if he knows about that, if he's ever heard of that. I'll probably be the only one in the history of the arcade games with a Toei monitor that has the chassis that has that one particular capacitor in it. That's the way it usually works with me. But anyway, yeah, I'd call this a success. So I'm going to end this video right here. We'll probably do a little more tune-up on it, and then we're going to figure out these controls. This control right here, the rotary isn't working real good. It's frozen up. So I'm going to go through those, and I'd like to play Heavy Barrel, and because I've never played it, to see if I like it. And who knows, I may keep it a Heavy Barrel, I may not. We'll just have to wait and see. So if you want to continue watching the saga of what happens to this game I saved from the trash, and so subscribe to the channel, and every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. So until then, this has just been another Arcade Fix. Have you had your arcade fix today?